I think, I'm not 100% sure. I'm actually never 100% sure, but I think we're live. So here we are. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are live. It is Thursday morning. I have no idea what the date is, but it's sometime in March. So let me just have a quick look, because something has just occurred to me. It is March the 9th. Right. Well, there we are then. You know, it's a funny thing, but my families, my sisters and two of my sisters, my father, lots of people have birthdays in March, and I do believe it's my oldest sister's birthday. It might even be today. But my daddy's birthday is on the 13th. So yippee. So I'm not sure if that's a Sunday. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's see. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's on Monday. My daddy's birthday is on Monday. And I will be excuse me. And I will be celebrating that in one way or another. So anyway, let me see. What have we been doing this week? I don't know. I had to cancel the people to come and rip out my bathroom because now the insurance company is saying, no, we don't think this or we don't think that. So I'm now waiting for the insurance company to come back and reassess my bathroom. The joys of having a house, the joys of living in a place where occasionally, actually, this is really the first real hurricane that I've experienced, and I've lived in Florida for, gosh, at least 15 years, maybe longer even. Can you believe I've been here for all that length of time? But anyway, but you know, life keeps going on and I keep going on. And before we go anywhere else, I would particularly like to thank all of you. I had no idea that my newsletter would have such impact on so many people. And the one thing it did tell me is that you do read it, which is good to know. It's always good to know that if you write something that people are reading. The second thing I want to say about that is, you know, I've always believed, if you've read my books, you will know I always like to share, because, you know, so many people think that, well, a lot of people think, and I've had it said to me on many occasions, well, it's all right for you. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, because people think that because I have an English accent, a British accent, and because I don't know why, because I hold my head a certain way, who knows why people think that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And some of you may not even know what that means. To be born with a silver spoon in your mouth means that you were born into luxury, born into I don't know, in England we say a posh family, born into a home where, you know, we didn't want for anything, we didn't need anything. A lot of people think that I was in fact born with a silver spoon in my mouth, which meant that not only was I born into the lap of luxury, but I was also a spoiled little thing. Far from it, I have to tell you, very, very far from it. Rather than being born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I would say that I was born with muck in my drawers, knickers, because we lived on the let's say, the Americans use this great, I love this phrase, the wrong side of the tracks. Means that I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. I was born, I would say that every third house, it might have been every other house, but let's be nice and say every third house in the neighborhood that I lived in, one or more members of the family had been either put in prison or sent to a borstal or a home for villains, whatever. I was absolutely not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. In fact, I was born among I suppose what some might call the the trash of life. They weren't trash. These people weren't trash, not by any standards, but there were people who were born, you know, with their noses stuck in the air, who would look down on those of us who lived on this in this particular area, which was known as not such a great area at all. I experienced things as a child. Certainly was not pampered by any means, not spoiled. We, you know, we didn't get everything we wanted. I would say that my youngest sister probably got pretty much what she wanted, because she was a bit spoiled, and if she's listening, she'll know it's true. But no, I was not born. Where am I going with this? What am I doing with this? So anyway, when we look at life and we view life, we often view life from the standpoint of where we were born, the kind of family that we came from, and so on. So I would say that it's fair to say now that I did, as an adult, pull up my bootstraps. I do have to say that even though we were born in a particular area, my mother, who was nicknamed in our neighborhood the lady, which was not a compliment by any means. It was very disparaging. But my mother worked in a carbon factory for years, standing on her feet all day, every day, folding carbon paper. So many of you youngsters will say, what's carbon paper then? What is carbon paper? Well, it's nasty, and it's ink, and it makes your fingers black and so on. Anyway, so but my mother aspired to get better for us. So whereas most houses in our neighborhood, if you were lucky, you had linoleum on the floor. If you were lucky, you had somewhat okay furniture. My mother had, let's see, she had Persian rugs on the floor. We had a television. We were the first in our neighborhood to have a television. We had brocade curtains up at the windows. My mother had, many people say, very fancy ideas, which was why they nicknamed her the lady in such a disparaging way. But you know, these things, these little things, they show us, don't they, how we live and how we watch and how we learn. We don't learn from what our parents tell us that we should do or be. We learn from watching them. And I think that my love of nice things actually comes from my mother. That's probably the first nice thing I've said about my mother in a long time. But certainly, you know, we were brought up on the wrong side of the tracks. And so, you know, did we let it deter us? No. Did we let it pull us down? No. I would think that everyone in my family, my sisters, my brothers, strived to do better than we had when we were kids. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I don't even know what began it. I can't remember what began it.
The newsletter, Rosemary, and we have lots of comments in the chat room about that.
Okay, so the newsletter. So, all right. So now then. So that's right. So so I have shared my life, and some of you know, if you've read my books, and particularly if you've read the Healing Rose, you'll gather some of what I've said. You will already sort of have some idea of where I grew up and what happened and so on. And so because of where I grew up and because of what I was, you know, what I had experienced, I think I'm much stronger and much tougher than most people. That doesn't mean I don't hurt, and it doesn't mean I don't cry, and it doesn't mean I don't feel, you know, down, or it doesn't mean I don't feel despair. It just means that I think I'm able to perhaps deal with it somewhat in a better way than a lot of people are. So I don't want any of you to get the impression that I'm about to do something stupid. I'm not about to throw myself off a bridge. No, life is far too precious for that. And I wouldn't do that to my daughter, and I wouldn't do that to my grandson anyway. Why would I do that? But I'm a great believer that we should share. And I think that so many people look at me and they see this, you know, this, whatever it is you see that is smiling and happy. And No, it isn't always like that, because life isn't always like that. And I always think that if I share myself with people, it gives people the courage. And some of the letters that I've received have really shown me that. It gives people the courage, and it gives them the inspiration. If she can do it, and if she can feel like that from time to time, well then, then I'm not so unusual, and I'm not so different. So the reason I share, and the reason I try to be upfront and honest, is because I want you to see me not as the great Rosemary Altea sitting on the pedestal. I want you to see me as just human, just like everybody else, going through similar things that everybody else is going through. And and I think that way, you can relate to me in a better way, in a more honest way. So for all of you who are worried, I'm fine. Yes, we all have those moments, and in the scheme of things, this thing that I was talking about was a momentary thing. Just it didn't seem like a momentary thing at the time. Nothing does it? When you're in despair, and when when you think, oh God, I'm giving up here. And it was the first time ever in my life that I can ever recall thinking, I can't do this anymore. It was a momentary thing, and I was so upset as I thought about it, and then I put myself together and thought, of course I could do this. So any of you thinking or worrying, please don't. I was just sharing my moment to show all of you that in your moments, you too can be strong. You too, it's okay to feel despair, and it's okay to feel that life is sort of taking over and getting away from me. It's okay to do all of those things, but have your faith. And as I said in the newsletter, it's not about losing faith in God, because that I've never done. I've always, since I can remember, since I was a tiny little girl, I've always had faith in God. I've always had faith in Christ. And I knew Jesus Christ from being at least 2 years old, if not even earlier. And I feel that he is with me so often in my life, and he is my go-to, just as Grey Eagle is my go-to. If I'm feeling real despair, I go to that place of faith, and usually it helps me to pull up my bootstraps and get on with life. So here we are, and I'm getting on with life, and I'm hoping that I have inspired you all. But I don't want any of you thinking, oh, poor Rosemary, I didn't know that you felt like this. But because you do, really, you know that I'm human, right? So your common sense must tell you that I have my lousy days just as well as everybody else has their lousy days. And sometimes those lousy days last for days and days. Sometimes they last for a month or two. And in some cases, and I know that some of you from your letters, in some cases, you've had those lousy times for a year or two, if not longer. And I just want to inspire you to say to you, it is okay. It's okay to feel despair. There is this fine line, though, isn't there? You see, I'm always aware of this fine line. When you're so in despair, you just feel like sliding down the wall, sitting on your bum and not doing anything. You just sit there and feel sorry for yourself. And believe you me, I'm the best at feeling sorry for myself. I'm really good at it. I can sit there for ages and not move and not get up and not go forward and feel sorry for myself. But at some point, it gets boring. For me, anyway, at some point, it gets really, really boring, and I have to do something. So I have to get up, and I have to shove myself off of the wall, and I have to start moving forward, because otherwise it's just too boring and too depressing and so on. So those of you who are sitting on the floor, metaphorically, of course, sitting on the floor, sort of having that moment of poor me, because we all do, it's time to get up now. Time to get your butt off the floor and move forward. And by my example, I'm hoping you can see you can do it. Okay. All right. Now then, Chris, do we have any? Is there anybody there? Am I
Oh,
talking?
we have so many people
There?
and so many comments, Rosemary.
Well, let's have them then.
Well, we're going to start off with the newsletter. You probably answered all their questions, but they still have the comments.
Well, I'm still working through. I've sent some people replies and some. I'm still working through them, but I will get to everyone who wrote.
Lorraine says, "What a nice newsletter." Rhonda's saying, "For some reason, I'm not getting the newsletters." Yeah,
Have you
we'll have to.
not sign up? You have to go to the website, Rhonda, and sign up or sign in or something, whatever.
There's a contact button on the home sheet.
Okay.
Put your name in. We'll get you a newsletter.
Absolutely, we will. We will.
Today is Annika's birthday, and she
Happy
says,
birthday to you, Annika. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Now, who gets to be sung to on their birthday by Rosemary Altea? Yeah, well, I hope, darling, you have a lovely birthday. Carry on, Chris.
All right, she says, "I read the newsletter too, and I think most of us can relate. At least I can.
Yes.
I was sort of taken aback that you felt too low for a little bit." And she's also wondering if her dear loved one, Neil, has any message for her birthday.
Well, Gregor has put his hand on my shoulder before you even asked the question. Now I've got to sing to you again. Happy birthday to you from Neil. Happy birthday to you. So those in the spirit world are wishing you much love and a fabulous and a happy birthday, darling. So just be aware they are around you the whole day today. And of course, every day. Chris.
All right. Lewis says, "Good morning. My mother passed in September. Is there a message from her? I miss her so much. Thank you."
Good morning, Lewis. I'm looking. See that crunched up face, that that those squinting eyes. I'm looking, but I'm listening. I'm listening to Grey Eagle, so I can tell you, yes. What am I supposed to say? Yes, there is a message, but it's from all. It's from all of us to all of you. Your Grey Eagle tells me your mother is safe. And I just can see a little hand waving at me. So that's as much as I can do for today. We do have other things to do today, but I hope that helps in some way. Chris.
All right. This is from Cecilia. "Hi, Rosemary. So excited to be here. My name is Cecilia, born in Argentina, but currently writing from my office in Milan, Italy."
Oh, fabulous. Lovely place. Great shopping, right?
"I was wondering if any of my loved ones or spirit team members are there, and if there is any message for me. Thank you so much."
As before, I went apparently. I have something to share with you all. Today is a little bit of a teaching day, you see. So I have all my stuff here ready so we can't do too many messages and so on. But the name Cecilia, immediately, you must know the song. Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. You're something or other, constantly, daily. I can't remember now who sang it, but I love the name Cecilia. I hope you have a fabulous day, and please know that your loved ones are there with you. Keep going, Chris.
Lisa says, "Good morning. My sister turned 57 today. We will be twins until April 7th when I turn 58. I'm struggling with insurance and storm damage in Illinois from last week. Goodness, I loved the newsletter. I was in despair for a bit. We all need to keep plugging on."
We do, don't we? And it's good to have good friends. It's good to have good examples of how we can keep, in your terms, as we can keep plugging on. And wish your sister a very happy birthday from me, my darling, and a happy birthday from you. Then it's your turn. Keep going, Chris.
Rhonda says, I've read all of your books. I know you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
Yeah. And sometimes because because I suppose nowadays you could say I live a little bit of a silver spoon life, because of all of the people I know, I am the luckiest person I know. I have everything that I need. I have pretty much everything that I want. I go shopping with friends and I got nothing to buy because I've got everything I need. So I am one of the luckiest people. But sometimes, the silver spoon does choke you a bit, doesn't it? Too much of a good thing is perhaps, or should I say that? No. Too much of a good thing is not bad. Too much of a good thing is great. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's it. Keep going, Chris. Keep going.
Says, can you believe that in 9 weeks I will be retired from my post of 26 years? I need some advice from Gray Eagle. My plan is to leave for my road trip, and I'm taking my 15-year-old Gage. Do I need to prepare for any issues? I've never done this before.
Who is this?
This is Mark from Tulsa.
Oh, Mark. Oh, my. That moment is arriving. We've talked about it. This is very exciting. Of course, you need to take things in preparation. You need to make sure you have enough money. You need to make sure you've got your credit card and that it's not out of date. To check that. You need to make sure that you take medicines and bandages and stuff like that. You need to take all of that stuff. And you need to, most importantly of all, you need to let your good friends know where you are at any given moment. And check in, make a point of checking in with people that you know and that you love from time to time to let them know, number one, that you're safe. Number two, where you are. And number three, we all want to know if you're going to be enjoying yourself. I have a suspicion that you will be enjoying yourself. And I hope Gage enjoys himself as well. Yay! I'm excited for you, Mark. Okay, Chris, keep on going on.
Dean says, hello, and a snowstorm is heading this way. It's still deep winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah, I know. I read the forecast. Deep snow at the weekend. Ooh, I'm so glad I'm here in Florida. Okay.
Cheryl's asking, do people have the choice to be evil, or are they created as dark souls? Why do dark souls exist?
Well, why do souls of light exist? It's part of that universal energy. It's a part of the scheme of things. There are, if you've read my book Soul Signs, which it sounds like you have, if you have read that, there are a dark soul is a soul created from an energy which is dark, which has no light, and so on. And if you want to know more about that, then Soul Signs is the book. If you've got hiccups, I'm really sorry. Anyway, let's keep going on. Yes, of course, it's possible for some of us to be dragged to the dark side. Of course it is. Of course, people were born of the light. I'm laughing. I'm sorry. It's such a dark subject, and here I'm hiccuping, and all I can do is laugh about it. But of course, there are people who are born created from the light, created from that good energy, who are tempted to slide into darkness, into doing sort of, let's say, dark deeds. That doesn't make them dark souls, but it puts them on the dark side rather than on the light side. Okay, Chris.
All right, this is from Barbara. Hi, Rosemary. I'm still feeling scared about selling my home after 30 years, but I'm trying to move forward, and I am on a waiting list to rent a small condominium. Can my husband give me assurance? Will this new place be okay? He was my rock, and I am lost without him.
Okay, I think that the move is inevitable, and it's about your attitude now more than anything else. You're all wondering what I'm doing here, because I'm actually getting ready to to do something else now. It's all about attitude. You know, if you have a good attitude and a positive attitude, you'll make it work. If you're determined to be sad, to want what you've left behind, you know, and you can never go back. You never go back. It's never the same when you go back, is it? So because everything's changed. But when you know, when you make these changes, you make them with the right attitude, then it will work out. Nobody can give you assurances because it's your choice at the end of the day. We can say if your attitude is positive and good, then things will work out. If your attitude is not so great, then they won't. They might for a little while despite you, but attitude is everything, and your energy speaks loud and clear. We're going to be talking about energy in a moment. I know that some of you are thinking I'm going to be doing the pendulum, but I'm actually not going to be doing the pendulum at all. We're going to learn about something else. Is there anything else, Chris, before we move?
Oh, you have a ton of comments in the chat room, Rosemary, so I think you just got to do what you want to do.
All right, I'll tell you what we'll do, and then I'll read the comments later, but I'll tell you what we're going to be doing here. We are going to be, yes, because we did the pendulum, didn't we? At least 3 or 4 weeks ago now. And I did say to you every now and again on a Thursday, I will teach you something. So here I'm going to teach you something. Then you know, if we have time, we'll get back to the comments and the questions. So, right. The reason I'm holding this is because it's old. I don't know how well you can see it. Wait a minute, let me put it in the camera there. There you go. It's a very old piece of jewelry. Some of you all have seen me wearing it from time to time. This is called a Belcher chain. It's a very strange thing, but it has a, see the little fob on that side? I don't know if I'm seeing, get in, see a little fob on that.
We can see it fine, yeah.
Okay, which used to go in a man's buttonhole, and then he would, his watch would hang like this, and then this would go in the buttonhole, and then the chain would go across his jacket, across his waistcoat, and clip onto his jacket. So I'm showing you this because this is my piece of jewelry. This is very, very old. I bought it, oh gosh, I've had it so many years. I don't even remember how many years I've had it, but anyway, I bought it years and years ago. In England, it's in an antique shop. That's that. Now, I'm also going to show, this is very dirty. It's actually silver and it should be nice and shiny, but I hauled it out of the box this morning, did not have time to clean it up, and hey, who needs it anyway? Now this is also old. It's a ring. It's actually a beautiful ring. When it's shiny, the silver, it's silver and turquoise, and it was made by a Native American. Now, so I'm telling you these things for a reason, so bear with me. This was made, handcrafted by a Native American, and I bought this as a trading post, just on the edge of the Apache Trail, just slightly in onto the Apache Trail. I bought this, so, and I was assured that it was made by an Apache craftsman. Anyway, so there's that. Okay, so there's that there. That's that. So now let's look at the other bits of jewelry. These are mine and new. This and the chain are new to me. You understand? I've had them years, but they're new to me. This watch is also new to me. This ring, I'll take it off for you. It's not only new to me, but I actually chose the stones and the setting, and I actually designed this ring. So that's a little emerald there with diamonds. Okay, so that's new. And this bracelet is sort of new. new, let's say new. And then we have this ring. I'm yanking it off. Now this ring, see how misshapen it is. Where's the camera? There we are. And this ring is old. So let's go back to the old again. This old is, let's say, second hand. Who knows who had it first? Who knows how many owners have had it? Makes a difference. I'm not sure about this. I think it was new to me, but nevertheless, it was worked and crafted by someone else, as I've said to you, a Native American. Important because it was worked and crafted by someone else. And this was originally, I think, a man's ring. Whether it was a wedding ring or not, I've no idea. Or do I have an idea? Some of you will know where we're going already with this. But I had it because I loved it, and I loved it's very weighty, and I love the shape of it, and I like the gold, type of gold that it is. So I had it cut down to fit me. But this was also bought, this was second hand. All right. So now, I'm going to talk about psychometry. I will spell it for you, but I probably will only spell it for you this one time. Psychometry, psychometry, psychometry. All right, I think I spelled it correctly, but anyway, there we are. Psychometry. What is it? Psychometry is the art of learning to tune into energy using an object. Shall I do that for you again? Psychometry is the art of tuning into or connecting with energy using an object. That object can be a piece of crystal, it can be a brick if you like, it can be anything at all that you think of. But there are certain things that retain energy easier and much better than other things. So, okay, so if we say we lose someone, we get the tracker dogs out, right? And we give them a piece of clothing, and they sniff that piece of clothing, and they can trace and track the person who is lost, and they can trace and they can track using their noses, using their smell, and so on. But I do believe also using the energy as well. The reason I'm talking about jewelry today is that the best way to learn and to be successful at psychometry is by using an object, or in the case I like it, a piece of jewelry that has belonged to someone, and only that someone, and preferably that piece of jewelry has been worn on a daily basis, a bit like a wedding ring or an engagement ring, or that some people have, they wear a cross around their neck all the time, they never take it off, that sort of thing. Now the object, let's talk about jewelry, because when I teach my first year students about psychometry, we talk about jewelry, and it's just easier to use jewelry. It's just easier because the metal of jewelry will absorb your energy. And then the person who is going to, or is learning psychometry, or is going to produce information through that energy, that person takes hold of the piece of jewelry. So let me see. I know all about me, but anyway, let's not use that. Let's use this. Okay, so all right, let's say, okay, so now, so I'm let's say you're in front of me, and I say to you, okay, you need to hand me a piece of jewelry. The point of this is I want to connect with your energy. I want to be able to connect with your energy through, in this case, through this ring. I want to know all about you, which means somehow tuning into you, tuning into your energy without you even saying a word to me. And I can do that by using a piece of jewelry, a watch, a necklace, a ring, or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. What we have to make sure of, though, is, let me show you this again, this very old Victorian thing. So it means it's well over 100, 150 years old, this thing. This, there you are. And consequently, it's been worn by other people, at least one other person. Consequently, its energy has the energy of that person has been absorbed. The chain I bought separate from the locket, so that means we've got competing energies, because this chain was probably used or worn by someone other than the person who owned the locket. So here we've got conflicting types of energy. So if someone gave me this piece of jewelry and said, here, can you work on this for me? Can you do psychometry with this? My first question to anyone I'm doing psychometry with, and the first question I tell my students is, whatever you do, make sure that that piece of jewelry or that whatever it is you're using has only ever belonged to that person, has never been worn by anybody else, has only ever been worn by them, and preferably worn by them on a daily basis, because then you've got a lot of energy being absorbed by that piece of jewelry. This, if I try to do psychometry on this, oh, I could do it. I could probably even tell you, if I worked on this piece of jewelry, I could probably even tell you or describe to you the lady who first wore it, and even the circumstances in which it was given to her. I can tell you a lot about it, but because it's 100 and some years ago, possibly even 150 years ago, you wouldn't know what I was talking about, would you? You wouldn't be able to confirm it. You wouldn't be able to verify it. So what's the point? So that's the first thing. If we're going to do psychometry, you make sure that it is not a second-hand piece of jewelry, because when you're talking about it and you're telling somebody about what you're sensing and the energy you're feeling, they won't know. They won't know at all, because you'll be talking about something that was not even in their, in their conscious mind, subconscious mind. They won't know what you're talking about. Likewise, when you get a piece of jewelry which is crafted by someone else, and let's assume that this piece of this dirty thing, which I will clean up later because it's making me quite ashamed looking at it. Such a beautiful piece of jewelry. When somebody is crafting jewelry, of course, they're putting their energy into it, and they're putting their energy into it lovingly. So this also is not going to make a great tool for psychometry, because even if you were to wear this every day, something like this every day, and it would have your energy in it, it would also have the energy probably of the craftsman. So you'd get conflicting feelings, you'd get conflicting knowledge. You're tapping into two different types of energy, right? Okay. So you could pretty much say that about anything, but when we're talking about the ring that dirty ring that I just showed you, we're talking about craftsmen who really put their heart and soul into it. So when you are doing psychometry, the rule is always make sure that whatever you are using, and I would advise jewelry first of all more than anything else. Whatever it is that you're using, if you're going to do psychometry, you make sure that when somebody hands you a piece of jewelry for you to try this, then you have to make sure that it's new to them. Even if they might have had it 30 years, it was new to them. That's rule number one. Now, a lot of you have been to psychics, or people who've been to psychics, and that psychic will say, give me a piece of something that I want to hold Usually they'll ask for a piece of jewelry. And what they're doing is, and it's hard for me to show you, but anyway, let's say, okay, this watch. Here we are, the watch. So if you're handed this watch and you're trying to do psychometry, so what you do is you need to hold it in your hand, preferably, I'm going to say in your dominant hand, but it doesn't necessarily have to be your dominant hand. But you hold it and then you focus. You don't focus on the watch, because if we start focusing the watch, we're looking at the detail of the watch. We don't need the detail of the watch. What we're focusing on is how it feels. Does it feel warm? Does it feel cold? What's it feel like? What's it make you feel like? And as you practice and as you do it more and more often, you will learn to tune in, if you like, to the energy of the person whose watch this is. You'll tune into that person's energy. So you may be able to say, oh, this person has a very warm and loving nature, or you may say, oh, this person has a cold nature. You may say, you may get the impression, and things will start to flat. The more you do it and the more you practice with it and the more you focus not on the item itself, but the energy and the feel and the sense of it, the more you will sort of get these little flashes of thought that come into your head. And when you're doing this, especially when you're doing this at first with, with friends, with people who are willing to experiment with you, keep a pen and a pad by the side of you and jot down any little flashes, any little thoughts and little flashes that you get in your head. For instance, you might get a flash that it's a gift. Well, you could argue actually this watch was a gift. It was a gift from me to me. So you could say, yes, it's a gift. But along with that flash of it's a gift, you might even get an impression of the person, man or a woman. It's a gift from a man. Actually, you would be totally wrong, because this is not a gift from a man. Because as I've just said, it's a gift from me to me. But you get the idea. So you pay attention to those little flashes and those little thoughts that are inside of your head, which might tell you something about this jewelry. The more you do it and the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Now, if you're doing this with friends, of course, they have to give you a piece of jewelry that you don't know much about. You can't take somebody's engagement ring and then say, oh, yes, it was a gift from a man. Well, 9 times out of 10 you'd be right, wouldn't you? A gift from a fiance. Yeah, of course it is. It's an engagement ring. So don't go for the obvious pieces of jewelry. Don't go for stuff that that you would know about. Ask for a piece of jewelry that you don't know anything about. It's important that person that owns this piece of jewelry, that they have been wearing it or have worn it on and off on a regular basis over at least a few months, because that way it absorbs their energy. So you can do psychometry with the intent of figuring out what's the gift. Is it yours? Has it? Did you choose it? You can also, from sensing, you can tell a person's feelings. This was a gift of love, or you love this piece of jewelry, or you're very fond of this, or this is a piece of jewelry that you don't think much about. You wear it because you like it, but that's pretty much all it is. So you can tell from a piece of jewelry when you're doing psychometry whether it is an emotional piece to the person who owns it, or if it's just something they just simply like. I was searching earlier on for a string of pearls, and I'm going to be looking them out, and I'm going to tell you other things that you might be able to sense or to feel or to be aware of from doing psychometry. when you first do this, the trick is don't be inhibited. Don't think that sounds silly, or I can't say that. You've got to spew out everything. Listen with your eyes, the eyes of your soul. You're listening with the eyes of your soul. You're paying attention. You're trying to, learn things. You're trying to learn how to tune in. It's not so much that and doing this, and even if you get really good at it, that doesn't mean that you're a medium by any means, but it does mean that you're able to tune into energy, and it means that you're not only able to tune into your own energy, you're also tuning into the energy of another person too. And very often you can tell, is someone lonely? You can tell, someone's sad. You can tell a lot about a person just by holding on to a piece of jewelry. But what you have to do, difficult as it might be, and even if you're jotting stuff down on a piece of paper, you've got to speak it out. Listen with your eyes and sing everything you see. And when we say see, we mean feel, we mean sense, we mean what is it that you're aware of. Sing it out, say it out. And if your friend or the person you're working with says, no, that doesn't mean anything to me, don't be inhibited by that. Don't be inhibited by it, because it's a trial and error thing. The more you do it, the better you will get at it. So next week, we're going to take that next step into, and some of you hopefully will have tried this by then. I want to hear from you. I want to hear, can I do this? Is it, I tried it and it was so weird and I felt this and this. Oh, I tried it, didn't feel anything, didn't do anything to me. This is one of these ways. Doing psychometry, using psychometry is one of the ways that we can raise our level of consciousness. You've heard me say that before. And if you're a student of mine listening, you will have heard me say it over and over and over again. We need to raise our level of consciousness so that we can lift up and become more in tune. We become more in tune with our own soul, but we also become more in tune with those things around us. We can become more in tune with those in the spirit world. We become more in tune and more aware of what is going on beyond us, beyond our ordinary vision, beyond our ordinary senses. We are trying to raise our level of consciousness to that point where we become more and more aware of that fabulous energy that is around us. So next week, I'm going to see if I can find a couple more things to show you and to explain to you. Why on earth would you be doing psychometry anyway? You're not doing it to show how clever you are. You're not doing it to show that, hey, look at me, I'm great. You're just doing it because hopefully you want to learn and you want to grow and you want to discover your own energy and how you can tap into energy, pure and simple. And if it's your energy, great. If it's someone else's energy, great. You're tapping in, you're raising your level of consciousness, and you're learning to extend and go beyond your level of consciousness to that next level. My first year students learn to do this. We have some great successes. Some people are really good at it and some people not so much. When I do it, unfortunately, you do know, when I do it, it's very hard for me to do this exercise because I cheat. Because when I'm holding a piece of jewelry, right, I can tell you exactly who owned it, and I can even tell you, where it was made probably. But that's because I cheat, because I have Grey Eagle to give me the information. So when I'm doing psychometry, when I'm doing it with my students, it's very hard for me to do it honestly. But I want you to do it honestly. Just focus on the energy when you hold it. Remember, dominant hand, although it doesn't really matter. You can always switch it, go from hand to hand if that's what you want to do. But when you're doing it, what you're doing is you're trying to feel, you're trying to tune in, you're trying to gather something from, this piece of jewelry that will tell you something about the person whose piece of jewelry it is. All right, so that's that. All right, Chris, let's go back to missing a piece of jewelry on my person here. I don't know what I've done with it. But anyway, let's go back to the
Sure. I'm going to start with Dean. Dean says, as we say here in Wisconsin, Rosemary is tougher than nails, and this is a compliment.
I think he means as a teacher. I hope.
Well,
But
it was all, he wrote it at the time you were talking about despair in the newsletter and lessons and things like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, it's true. I am very strong. I'm a very strong woman, probably, tough as nails, hard as nails, whatever. But if you are too brittle, if you are too hard, you're in danger of breaking, you're in danger of cracking. So it's not, so, don't, when and Dean, I know you know me well, so I know, you're not doing this to me. But when we meet people and we think they're strong or they're tough or what have you, often the toughest and the strongest of people do have the softest of shell of tough shells and soft centers. A bit like that dark chocolate with that lovely soft cherry. Yes, right in the middle there. I just could taste one of those. I don't have any. Oh, I do actually. Yes, I do have some of those. But anyway, carrying on. Keep going, Chris.
Leslie says, I love how warm and open you are.
Thank you.
Then we have Amanda. Hi, Rosemary. I'm trying to integrate these meetings into my work at home schedule.
Okay.
This year has been full of changes, and I am now dealing with, in addition to so much other stuff, an unexpected change of schools for my children, one of which we are finding has learning differences. I have been praying for
I think
guidance
that's difficulties, I think.
for the well being of my kids and their education. This is probably not a typical question you receive, but is there any guidance about how to choose an appropriate school and if my boys will land in a loving, nurturing place that they truly need right now? This is such a big decision that affects so my children profoundly, and I am feeling the pressure. Thanks.
This is from Amanda, right?
Yeah.
Amanda, well, first of all, you're obviously a fabulous mother because you're obviously caring and concerned. It's very hard with our kids because we want what's best for them. You tell me that you're discovering that one of your children has learning difficulties, and I would actually argue a little bit with that. I would say that he's very sensitive. And so just because a teacher says to you, he can't do this or he won't do that or something, that it may well mean that she or he can't bring that child out in the best way. So, be aware of that because, we all know, our children have talents in many ways. And what they're lacking in one thing, they will absolutely be so totally not lacking in something else. So I feel that this kitty that you're talking about is extremely sensitive. Use your energy. Go within yourself when you're thinking about the schools. I mean, I could say to you that if you were to have a consultation, that you could get a lot of guidance and a lot of help in that area. I'm fairly sure of that. But use your own sense, use your own feelings. Allow yourself to tune in and to connect with your soul, and be guided by that so that you can then guide your kids.
All right, this is from Rhonda. It's interesting that you were talking about despair today. I've been sick on and off for months. Yesterday, I felt wonderful all day, and then out of the blue, I started vomiting last night. I was so depressed. I sat on the bathroom floor and cried. Today, I got up and I was filled with a renewed sense of happiness. Today is a new day, and I will go forward.
I love you, Rhonda. What a fantastic attitude. We're going to be sending you healing, and don't despair, my darling. It's hard sometimes, isn't it? You think you're just getting back on your feet. It's like when I get up and my back is out, and I go through the day, and at some point it gets great, and I'm thinking, oh, fabulous. And I might have 3 or 4 days when my back is absolutely fine, and then bang. And oh gosh, here it goes again. It's so easy to focus on what is wrong and forget the days that we have that are right. It's so easy, isn't it, to go into despair in that way. But we are with you. I'm sending my love and my healing prayers to you, my darling.
I'm here. I think we're coming right up at time, Rosemary. Paula says, let's see. Can you tell me if my mom is okay?
And the answer to that, because I'm checking with Gregor, is absolutely yes. I wish I could do more. I wish I could say more, but we are at time. And I know Chris has to be doing stuff. So let me say thank you to all of you. I hope you enjoyed the lesson on psychometry. I will be doing it a little bit more of that next week. But let me just say thank you to all of you. You know I love you all, and I love. Thank you so much for responding, and you made my heart sing with all of your wonderful comments. Thank you. We will be on Saturday doing we will not have a story time in the morning. We'll be doing our workshop in the afternoon. Chris can put that up for you. If you want to know more about that, go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com. I almost forgot my website. We will also, for some of you, you'll love this, we will be doing our cracking up on Friday night, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 10 p.m. in British time. I'll be talking with my friends K and K, hence cracking up, K-R-A-K, cracking up. We'll be talking about that on Friday, so please do join me then. And if I don't see you at the webinar on Saturday afternoon, then hopefully next Thursday, when I shall be telling you a little bit more about psychometry and how you can use it to raise your level of consciousness. So thank you to Chris, thank you to all of you, and a special thank you to Grey Eagle. And until I see you all again, once again, thank you all, because you know I love you. Thank you. Please, until I see you all again, please, everyone, have a very blessed rest of the day and have a very blessed weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.